I'm Herb Gilliland. I'm a scientist and artist from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I started Lost Astronaut Studios in 2006. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh is known for robotics and Carnegie Mellon and Pitt and some other universities. I recently moved to a neighboring city called New Kensington, Pennsylvania. And the reason I moved here is because the housing prices are affordable and sort of stuck in the 1990s. So I got a lot more than I could get in Pittsburgh, but could still remain a part of the community here. It's 25 minutes from the city center, so I get a little bit of that, but it's closer to farmland, and we weren't sure if we wanted to get a farm or if we wanted to just find a house, and this was a great house, and I like the idea of maybe one day going further out and finding a farm, but we'll see. I'm married without kids. I have a lot of cats.
Biggie.
I spend a lot of time doing tabletop role-playing games. I paint miniatures. That's a very new hobby. I 3D print things. I also write novels on the side.
Looking for a job, I found myself in deep space. I was going to be an asteroid miner. I didn't know the hazards.
Apolloon 2 is a survival roguelike that's funny and designed to be frustrating, but not overly frustrating. Basically, the concept is that you're tethered to a space station, and you and up to 8 people can actually play simultaneously, and you sort of tug of war this space station around the screen, and it's basically an asteroids game. Asteroids come in, you can stop them and mine them, and then break them down, and then sell them and buy things and upgrade your station and yourself, and your team kind of works together or not, depending on how experienced they are at doing that, and you could die at any time. I was an only child. I didn't have a lot of playmates, and when I had to play alone, I played with Matchbox cars, and I gave them personalities similar to what they did for the Transformers, but these didn't transform. There were cars that had writing on them like Nitro, and that became his name, that kind of thing. And I would act out these interactive movies where, there would be stunt driving and things that are going on, and they would be talking, and there would be nemesis and groups and different plot lines that I was making up, in the corner of the living room. And I think that tendency towards wanting to play with my toys that way, to create stories around these toys, was just from the very beginning that I wanted to make my own games. The first game that I played that I ever have a really huge connection to is the Infocom game Planetfall. And in that game, that towards the end, you lose a companion. He sacrifices himself for you, and he's the only companion you have marooned on a planet. So you're alone when he dies, and you're alone before you meet him. So he's this moment in that experience, and I don't think I'll ever forget that. And just being inspired by that game to go and make my own text games and then eventually graphical games. In 1991, I wrote my first text-based online multiplayer game, and it went kind of viral for a little while in the 90s, and part of it at least became a part of other people's work, and it's still being used today. But after that, I went to school, and I needed to make money, so I became a web developer. And then in 2005-06, I decided, what, I miss doing graphics and video games. I need to get back to that. And so I challenged myself, and I became a graphics programmer, and then founded Lost Astronaut on the side, thinking I would write a game quickly in 6 months. I worked on my first game for 7 years, and it never got published. Well, there haven't been that many successes over 20 years, and I think that there's a pursuit of success that is still a hunger, okay? And success for me is very modest, and I'm hoping my next game will do that. And when I'm either unable to work due to eyesight or just being too distracted by other things, there are times that I've taken a break over the 20 years, But right now, I'm fully engaged in my next project, and until that's completed or I hope to complete it. You don't always complete projects, but this particular one I'm keeping scaled back so that I can complete it. And I've learned a lot of lessons over the years, but I'm kind of ready to pivot to maybe tabletop or something else. But it's been something I've been doing since I was 14 years old. I'm almost 50 now, not quite yet, but soon. And it's something I've done every single day is program computers and try to make games and fun things just for my own amusement, if no one else.